representatives from the community in varying capacities to speak to you today. Janet Ridsdale is at the end. We have Alexandra Chivati, Patty Desjardins, and Mark. And so we'll start with Janet Ridsdale. We'd like to have each of the speakers speak for 3 to 4 minutes. Mark is going to read her very poignant letter, and then we would ask anybody that is a representative from the media to ask 3 or 4 questions. After we are done, there is the availability to break into groups and for community members to be interviewed after we're done speaking. So there will be more time if the media would like to talk to people about their personal stories, about their part in the community, and how this suspension, this program suspension, is going to affect them. Thank you very much. Jen?
So thank you for coming here today. We are here because we are very concerned about the cuts and the resultant implications and impact on the disabilities community in Calgary. The Mount Royal Disabilities Program is a hands-on program that enables students who really want to work with people in our disabilities community to get the hands-on experience. They not only get the theory background, but they also get the opportunity to work in the community in practicum placements. And once the program is over, they get a job. Now, the Alberta government has a current mandate of looking after our vulnerable populations and of full employment. And it is our opinion that this particular program fulfills both of those mandates. Obviously, people with disabilities are one of our most vulnerable populations, and the fact that once they've completed their diploma program, they are 100% employable, it also coincides with the Alberta government's mandate of full employability.
Janet is a community advocate and a mother of typical children and a child with disabilities. Thanks, Janet. Appreciate it. Alexandra is a Mount Royal University Diploma Studies graduate student. Thanks, Alexandra.
Hi. So I'm a graduate of Mount Royal, and I decided to take disability studies because I wanted to use what I learned and experienced in school as soon as possible. I wanted an education that would allow me to confidently get into the field as soon as I could, but also one that opened doors to further education whenever I wanted to pursue it. The Disability Studies Diploma provided me with a philosophical base, a great network around me, a ton of experience through practicum, and a great set of mentors as I went forward in the field. And fortunately, I was able to start a job with the inclusive post-secondary program at Mount Royal immediately after graduating. I noticed that many of the organizations that my classmates and I either worked with or came into contact with would often ask if we would work for them after school, and none of us have had very much of a problem finding a job out of school, and I don't think that this reflects on us as much as it reflects the need for passionate, committed, and trained individuals in the field. To address this need, PDD has put an emphasis on training, funding, and retaining staff in their recent budget announcement. So in light of all this, it seems completely contradictory and short-sighted that Mount Royal University would decide to get rid of the Disability Studies Diploma and to address their own budget cuts. This program not only reaches a certain student population and leads directly to employment, but it is also a program that directly and significantly impacts a vulnerable population in Alberta. The decision to cut the Disability Studies program shows a lack of value for people with disabilities and the people that support them.
Thank you, Alexandra. Patty Desjardins is with the University of Calgary and is the mother of 2 young gentlemen with disabilities.
Hi. Just as both Janet and Alexandra have mentioned, the cutting of the Disability Studies program is going to have, I think, a significant impact on the quality of support care workers that are in the field. What this program does is it provides students with a way to think about how to support individuals in a more socially valued way It isn't focused on simply caregiving or simply meeting somebody's basic needs, but rather thinking about individuals in terms of what their dreams are, what everything that they might be able to achieve that would be part of anybody's typical life. But that requires sometimes some thoughtful implementation in terms of the people who support that person. And so to be able to just put somebody into an inclusive setting and think that it's going to happen naturally is a little bit of a myth. And the program at Mount Royal actually focuses on helping the students think about how they can provide that support, how they can do it in a dignified way, a respectful way, and provide the kinds of experiences for any individual that we all imagine, and certainly as mothers and parents of children with disabilities, that we all hope for in terms of any child.
Thank you, Patty. Rosamanda is a parent and has written a beautiful letter that she is going to read today.
Excuse me, my voice breaks up a little bit. As a parent of a child with Asperger's, I cannot begin to tell you how devastated I was to find out that this program was going to be discontinued. I wonder if the Board of Governors took the future of our children into consideration when they made this decision. Things might look good on paper, but they need to consider the effect that this will have on thousands of families, not just here, but in the province. Waiting lists for current programs are long. Some of them are 6 months. Some of them are 9 months. With the elimination of this program, they're going to be even longer. And some families need the help right now. Graduates of the program are pretty much guaranteed, as this lady said. And obviously with the waiting list, it shows a need for these programs, and it shows a need of this employment. Qualified individuals are desperately needed to fill these positions so that our children can learn to be productive citizens of this province. They can learn to live on their own, pay taxes, gain really good employment. They don't have to stay in menial jobs. They can get what they need. Without this program, they will be forced into government assistance because they won't have the means to support themselves. Our Premier has also chosen to make cuts on the backs of the most vulnerable as well. And it seems to me that both Mount Royal and the province have chosen 2013 to launch a siege against individuals with disabilities rather than embracing what they have to offer and encouraging programs and assistance that can help them. My daughter is on track to graduate high school with her peers next year. And we never thought this would be possible. We were told when she was diagnosed at the age of 4, she would never have imagination, never have a sense of humor. She's blown everybody away. She's high functioning, but she would not have had that possibility to do that if we had not had assistance from qualified professionals that worked with us and with the school to get her to where she is now. This constant attack on the needs of those with disabilities by both the government and Mount Royal needs to stop. They need to see the value in anybody with a disability. Both the province and Mount Royal need to sit back and rethink how these decisions will affect these kids and their families in the future. I urge them to reinstate the Disabilities Studies Program and for Premier Redford to instate PDD funding. Otherwise, the government will end up paying later in the future for these individuals who will fall through the cracks and quite likely end up on social assistance. It's better to be proactive than reactive. I'm actually ashamed to call myself a former student at Mount Royal University right now. I attended there both full-time and part-time. And while I was looking at sending my daughter to Mount Royal, I'm definitely looking somewhere else now. I will not send her to a school that does not support her. As well, I will no longer enroll myself in continuing education classes at Mount Royal. I was planning to take the script writing course. But I won't support a school that doesn't support us. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? To our panel?
So what are the similar programs in the province to the ones that's being tried at Mount Royal?
Well, there is no program that is exactly the same. You have the rehabilitation program that happens at U of C, which is a fantastic program, but it's a 4-year as opposed to a 2-year program, which doesn't always suit everybody that's going into post-secondary education. The other thing is, with the Mount Royal Diploma Studies Program, it gives people a much more hands-on opportunity.
There's also, there is an online program at Lethbridge College, but again, it's not necessarily feasible for everybody to do.
One of the programs that will likely be affected by this is Camp Bonaventure, because a lot of the students that go to Mount Royal College use that as their summer job to lead the kids in recreational programs, such as horseback riding, sailing, things that they would not have the opportunity to do otherwise. I hate to use the word regular, but regular camps can't support our kids because the people that are leading those classes don't have the training to deal with. For instance, my daughter would totally have a meltdown with this crowd here, and she wouldn't be able to deal with the crowd. And most camps and whatnot that are out there, they don't have the training to deal with the kids. They would just say, my daughter was kicked out of dance class when she was younger because she had a meltdown, and they didn't know how to deal with that, so they didn't want her back.
Thank you, Marcia. Are there any other questions? Well, thank you very much. If you would like to stay, there are many community members and parents in the audience. And if you would ask, most of the attendees here would love to speak to you further. Thank you for coming.